Welcome to the Spring 2014 University of Iowa Intramural Indoor Soccer Captains video. During this video, we will go over some rules and regulations of the intramural sports program, as well as reminders for you and rules and regulations for our Spring 2014 indoor soccer season. First thing we want to talk to you about is our eCheckup to Go program. Teams have the opportunity to get refunds of their registration fees for intramural sports by participating in the eCheckup to Go online confidential alcohol assessment. In order to qualify for a refund, a team must have 75% of the players on its final roster complete the assessment, and that refund will be attributed to the team captain's U-bill at the end of the indoor soccer season. So if 75% of your team's final roster takes the survey, sends those results to Intramural Sports, your team captain will receive a refund on his or her U-bill at the end of the indoor soccer season, so in mid to late March. For more information on this, you can visit the Intramural Sports website through Recreational Services, or you can find more information on imleagues.com. Now we want to introduce you to our intramural sports staff. The director of intramural sports is Tommy Shore. Graduate assistants are Matt McCarthy and Drew Dunley. These two head up most of our sports in terms of communicating with captains and making schedules and things along those lines. So you will be hearing from one of those two frequently throughout the indoor soccer season. And our intramural sports student supervisors consist of these 9 folks that you will see out at the game site supervising games on a nightly basis and things like that. If at any point you have any questions about intramural sports, please feel free to contact one of these supervisors or graduate assistants. If you see them out at the game site, they'll be wearing their intramural sports staff polos or jackets along with a name tag. Ask them anything you need to know about intramural sports and they will be happy to help you out. So by this point, you've made it to imleagues.com and you are somewhat familiar with the imleagues.com website. On this website, you can find league announcements for not only indoor soccer, but all of our sports. You can modify your roster, use it to add players and drop players from your roster. Once the season gets going and schedules are made after registration is complete, you can find team schedules for indoor soccer and all of our other sports. You can find sport rules and information sheets. To do that, you hover over the sport icon on the left side of that sports homepage and you click the handbooks manuals link. There's a screenshot of it there on that slide so you know what you're looking for, but at any time you can find out information about any of our sports or events by following that process and getting to that handbooks manuals link and those information sheets. And once the season gets going, you can find updated standings and brackets. We update our results the day after every night's games, so you can keep up to date with where you are in the standings and see how your progression is going in terms of where you stand in your division and whether or not you will make playoffs. Some responsibilities we have of you as team captain are to make sure your teammates are eligible and to make sure that your teammates know the sport and program rules and regulations. It's not an excuse for violation of the rules to just simply say that you didn't know. It's the team captain's responsibility to make sure his or her players all know these rules that they must abide by, and if for any reason we need to contact your team, you will serve as our contact from the intramural sports office. To manage your team roster, you can add players at any time, and these players can be added to a team's roster anytime until 2 p.m. the day of that team's quarterfinal game. So if you make playoffs and you continue to advance, that quarterfinal round, 2 p.m. that day, is the cutoff for any roster additions. To be guaranteed eligible to play, players must be added to a team's roster by 2 p.m. the afternoon of the game. So if your first game is on Monday, January 27th, 2 p.m. on Monday, January 27th is when you need to have people added to your roster to be eligible to play in that night's game. Throughout the season, make sure you check imleagues.com frequently to make sure your roster is current and has no errors. There are sometimes changes in statuses of different participants on your team that they may not make you aware of. A person leaves a job at a university, drops classes, something like that that makes them ineligible. Make sure you are continually checking to make sure all your participants listed on your roster are eligible. If for some reason you need to drop a player from your team, you may complete a player drop request form. Those forms are available outside of E216 Fieldhouse on the main deck of the Fieldhouse and on imleagues.com. You get those completed, submit it to the roster drop box, or scan and email it to us in the Intramural Sports office, and we will get that roster drop taken care of for you as long as that person has not participated in a game for your team. In indoor soccer, the number of players on the field at a time is 5. One of those is designated to be the goalie and will wear a different color shirt than the rest of his or her team. Who is eligible to play intramural sports? The answer is University of Iowa students, faculty, and staff, as well as spouses or legally married partners. So if you are a student, faculty, or staff member and you are married, your spouse can play on the same team as you, but your spouse cannot play on a team on which you are not. So make sure that if you want your spouse to play, that spouse signs up on the same team as you. And to do so, you need to fill out a spouse edition form, which is available on imleagues.com and the Intramural Sports website. A player may only represent one team in our indoor soccer league, so you're either on a men's team or a women's team, and only one. Once a player enters a game on a second team, that player is ineligible for the remainder of the season on any teams, and a team with an ineligible player on the roster will forfeit any game in which that player participates. So make sure that your teammates are not trying to join other teams and are sticking to that one team rule. Current intercollegiate athletes are not allowed to participate in related sports, so Iowa soccer players cannot participate in indoor soccer, and former Division I athletes must sit out 2 full semesters in their sports in order to compete in a related intramural sport. So somebody that played on the Iowa women's soccer team must sit out 2 full semesters after having played for Iowa soccer in order to be eligible to play intramural soccer in our program. Sport club athletes, no more than 2 current University of Iowa Sport Club athletes and or coaches can participate on the same intramural team in that sport or a related sport. So if you're in a soccer club or know some folks in a soccer club, only 2 sport club athletes or coaches from a soccer club at the University of Iowa can be on the same intramural sports indoor soccer team. When you get to the game site, you will be required to check in with a university ID card prior to every game. Each player will check in with the intramural supervisor with his or her university ID, and there is no exceptions to this. No ID equals no play. Captains, make sure you remind all of your players to bring their university IDs for every game in which they want to participate. And while their IDs are being checked, officials will also check for metal cleats prior to the game, which are also illegal in our indoor soccer league. If anyone is caught misusing an ID, using an ID that's not theirs, or something along those lines, that person is subject to suspension from intramural sports. In addition, intramural sports reserves the right to discipline the individual supplying the ID as well as the team captain for the team in which this person is trying to sign in and play. So make sure that there's no misuse of ID going on out there. Everybody's using their own UI IDs. If they don't have one, they are not eligible to play and should not be attempting to do so. Any misuse of ID incidents will be reported to the Dean of Students office for possible further university sanctions. All participants are expected to display good sportsmanship in our leagues. Any participant who does not display good sportsmanship may be ejected, and any participant who participates in a fight will be suspended from all recreational activities for at least 1 calendar year. So that's anything through recreational services, aquatics, fitness, sport clubs, anything like that. That person will be suspended from, and again, that'll be passed along to the Dean of Students office for possible further university sanctions for violation of the student code of conduct. If a player gets ejected, that player is required to meet with the intramural staff as well as the team captain. That player is ineligible to participate in any intramural sports until after the meeting, and that ejected participant will be suspended at least 1 additional game following the ejection meeting. So make sure you're acting in a sportsmanlike way. Do not get ejected, and we will not have to deal with any of these issues. Captains, make sure you are working with your teammates who may be getting a little hot-headed to calm them down and make sure they're acting in a sportsmanlike manner. Speaking of sportsmanship, our officials will rate teams on a scale of 1 to 4 in regards to their sportsmanship. 1 is poor, 4 is excellent, follows the the GPA scale here at the University of Iowa. Both teams will start each game at a 2.5 rating, and you can either work your way up towards a 4 or work your way down towards a 2 or a 1. Any team receiving a 2 or a 1 will be notified. If you receive a 2, you'll be notified via email that you got a below average sportsmanship rating and you need to pick it up in your following games. If you get a 1, you will be required to have a meeting with the intramural sports staff. In addition, you must maintain a 2.5 or better average in order to be eligible for the playoffs and to continue playing in the playoffs. Our games are officiated by intramural sports officials. These are student officials. These are your peers. All officials will be trained by the intramural sports staff. If you have questions or concerns about them, you are expected to notify our staff in a professional way and not yell and scream at the officials at the game site. You are expected to treat the officials with the respect you expect to receive from them during the game. If you are interested in becoming an official, we have our indoor soccer officials training on Thursday, January 23rd at 6:30 p.m. This will be held in room 201 of Fieldhouse. Anyone interested in officiating indoor soccer should attend this meeting. And if you have never officiated for intramural sports before, you will also need to attend the rookie meeting on Sunday, January 26th from 5 to 6 o'clock p.m. in E220 Fieldhouse. There's no prior experience needed. Just come on out if you're interested in indoor soccer and be an official for the intramural sports program. We want games to happen. That's why we go through all this work to schedule games and do everything we do. So we don't want forfeits to happen. Teams not ready to play within 10 minutes of the scheduled game time shall forfeit. The captain of a forfeiting team will be fined half the registration fee, which the registration fee is $50, so half that is $25. We do this to discourage forfeits and make sure teams get there. If you forfeit and you have games remaining and you play the remainder of your games, you will be refunded your forfeit fine following the season. But if you forfeit your last regular season game or a playoff game, you will have no chance to recover that forfeit fine. To avoid a forfeit, if you know you can't make it, you may default. The first time you default, there's no fine. Thank you for letting us know. We can let the other team know and the officials know and save some people some hassle, so we appreciate the heads up. The second time you default, again, we want these games to happen, so the team captain will see a fine on his or her U-bill of 25% of the registration fee cost. A third default, the captain will be fined 50% of the registration fee cost, and these are non-refundable. There's no chance for a refund for these. The point of intramural sports is to have fun and to get these games played, so we want to discourage, as best we can, teams not showing up. In order to declare a default, you must do so by 2 p.m. the day of the game for a weekday game, and 7 a.m. on Sundays for Sunday games, via email to andrewdunley@uiowa.edu, or by phone you can call the Intramural Sports Office at 319-335-9292. If you disagree with an application of a rule while you are participating, if you think it should be a direct kick when an indirect kick was awarded or something along those lines, you may protest that. A judgment call, whether the ball was in or out or whether the contact was illegal, cannot be protested. But if you want to protest something that is eligible to be protested, you must call a timeout immediately and get the supervisor over there for the night, explain the situation to make a ruling. If you still don't agree with the intramural sports supervisor's ruling, you can submit a formal protest and appeal that ruling. You must submit a written protest along with $5 to the intramural office by noon the first business day following the game. The intramural director will look at the forfeit and come to the correct ruling. If your ruling is upheld and you are correct and the protest is upheld, you will receive a refund of that $5. If not, if you are incorrect, Intramural Sports will keep the $5 and the game will remain as was completed the previous night. Team t-shirt policy for indoor soccer. Matching colored team t-shirts are required. The only exception to this is the goalkeeper. Your team will select its team t-shirt color during registration, and all participants on the team must wear that color jersey for every game. Once registration is complete, we will make schedules, and those schedules will be posted on imleagues.com on Thursday, January 23rd, with games beginning on Monday, January 27th. Like I said before or throughout the season, after games have started, you can check imleagues.com for league standings and the top 2 teams in each division will qualify for the playoffs. Games will be played at the indoor practice facility on Monday and Wednesday nights. The indoor practice facility is where the football team practices indoors, located northwest of Kinnick Stadium. You can park in the Lot 43, which is located north of Kinnick Stadium, and then you walk around the north end of the Jacobson building next to the baseball field and enter the facility in the northeast area of the facility facing the baseball field. We will also send you a map with this information to help direct you a little bit. This facility is managed by both athletics and recreational services, so we need your help to keep it in good shape. It is a privilege for our program to use this facility, and people that do not respect this privilege will lose the privilege, and you will not be participating in indoor soccer anymore. So no food or drink besides water is permitted inside the turf areas, and again, no metal cleats are permitted in our indoor soccer leagues. Now we'll talk about some specific game rules of indoor soccer for our season. The games will consist of 2 20-minute halves, running clock with no injury time. There will be a maximum 5-minute halftime. The clock will stop on all fouls, violations, or any other dead balls in the last minute of both halves and overtime if necessary. If there's a game where the margin is quite a bit, we do have a mercy rule in place. If a team is ahead by 8 or more goals with 10 minutes or less remaining in the game, that game will be ended at that point for that mercy rule. And again, 5 players on the field for each team at one time, one of which will be the goalkeeper. In any of our intramural sports, you are not permitted to wear jewelry. This is for your safety, and it all must be removed prior to the start of the game. Players cannot participate with any jewelry, with the only exception being medical alert bracelet or necklace. So this includes any visible piercings, rings, necklaces, bracelets, anklets, rubber bands, silicone bracelets, anything around your wrist, things like that. They cannot be taped down. Your earrings cannot be taped over. We know what's underneath those. You need to take out your jewelry. It is a liability issue for us and a safety issue for you. So if you are found to be wearing jewelry, you will be sent off the field, and it must be removed before you return. So please take it out prior to the game so we do not have to deal with that issue. Prior to the game, there will be a coin toss. The team winning the coin toss will choose which goal to defend in the first half. The team losing the pregame coin toss will kick off in the first half, and the team winning the pregame kickoff will kick off. The team winning the pregame coin toss will kick off the second half. In order to make a substitution, the subs must wait at midfield until a dead ball. Substitutes can only enter during a dead ball once beckoned by the official. There are no on-the-fly substitutions, so make sure that you're following this procedure because it results in a yellow card if there is a substitution violation. If the ball goes out of bounds on the sideline, it will result in a throw-in at the spot by the team not last to touch the ball. And if it goes out of bounds on the end line, if it's last touched by the attacking team, it will result in a goal clearance throw by the goalkeeper, which we'll talk about in a minute. And if it is last touched by the defending team, it will result in a corner kick, which is a direct kick by the attacking team, same as a standard outdoor soccer. A goal clearance throw that we just mentioned, in order to do this, the goalkeeper will take it, and the ball must be thrown by the goalkeeper from his or her own penalty area, which will be marked on the field. The ball must touch the ground or another player prior to going past midfield. So you cannot throw it all the way to the other end of the field. It must touch the ground or another player on the goalkeeper's half of the field outside of the penalty area in order for it to be a legal clearance throw. Fouls and misconduct that can lead to direct free kicks include kicking, tripping, striking an opponent, pushing, holding, charging an opponent, a handball, a slide tackling an opponent, as slide tackles are not permitted in our league. There are other examples of this. This list is not exhaustive, but these are direct free kick fouls, as opposed to indirect free kick fouls, which consist of, but not limited to, playing in a dangerous manner, intentional obstruction of an opponent, charging a goalkeeper out of the penalty area, goalkeeper violations, such as the goal clearance throw violation, or an illegal substitution. Fouls for which you can get a yellow card include substitution violation, which we already talked about, persistent infringement of the rules, arguing the decision of the officials. We talked about sportsmanship earlier. We expect you to adhere to it, or behaving in an unsportsmanlike manner in one way or other. Things that can result in a red card ejection include serious foul play, violent conduct or fighting, persistent foul or abusive language, whether it's towards an official or not, or a second yellow card offense. The point of intramural sports is for fun and for recreation. We expect this to be adhered to and followed, and we will follow the necessary means if our participants are not adhering to those goals of our. If there is a red card ejection, it results in a 10-minute period in which the offending team must play down a player. Obviously, the player receiving the red card is ejected from the remainder of the game, and that 10-minute period lasts regardless of the number of goals scored during the period. And if a team has more than one player ejected from that team during the same game, that game will be ended and will be marked as a default. The team with the 2 ejections will lose that game. Regulation, we will go to a 5-minute golden goal overtime period. What that means is first one to score wins. So that period will last 5 minutes, running clock the first 4, stop clock on dead balls the last minute. If the game remains tied at the end of that 5-minute overtime period, we will proceed to it out. The way the shootout will work is each team will take 5 kicks by any 5 players on that team, alternating order with opposing team. So Team A will kick, Team B will kick, Team A will kick, Team B will kick. If it's still tied at the end of those 5 kicks, 1 kick by each team is taken until the tie is broken, and those kicks must be made by players that have not yet kicked in the shootout. As part of our intramural sports program, we have a partnership with Buffalo Wild Wings, and we have a Buffalo Wild Wings Intramural Sports Points Championship. What this is a championship throughout the school year, throughout the 2013-2014 school year. Points are awarded to each team that participates in each sport, and those points are awarded based on a team's finishing position. So if you keep the same team name throughout the year, that team name will continue to accumulate points, and at the end of the year, champions will be awarded in the men's, women's, fraternity, sorority, and co-rec divisions. And those winning teams receive a championship trophy, a $100 gift card to Buffalo Wild Wings, and Buffalo Wild Wings champion T-shirts. So if you're interested in that, keep the same team name throughout the year and play a lot of intramural sports and accumulate those points. For teams that may be registering for indoor soccer that do not have a division, everything we've opened is full. You may attend the waitlist meeting, which will take place on Thursday, January 23rd at 2 p.m. if necessary, and if we still have room in our leagues. We have limited space in intramural indoor soccer due to the shared facility with athletics, so the earlier you finish your registration, the better it will be in regards to your chances to get into a division and participate in indoor soccer. If you are watching this meeting and you are a free agent, you want to play indoor soccer but do not have a team, or if you are a team captain that needs more players on your team, you can attend the free agent meeting, which will take place on Wednesday, January 22nd at 2 o'clock p.m. in room 201 Fieldhouse. During this meeting, free agents can meet up with each other to form a team or speak with the captains of teams that are in need of more players to complete a roster and make sure everybody that wants to gets on a team for intramural indoor soccer. Registration requirements. Now that you've watched this video, you must pass the captain's quiz. Once you have done that, you can name your team and get everything set, including meeting the minimum player requirement. So once you've passed the captain's quiz, you can start to invite players to your team, get your team roster built up, and get the minimum number of players required for your team. Once you have the minimum number of required players, you can pay the registration fee on imleagues.com via PayPal. Then once you do that, if you do that during pre-registration, you need to come back when registration opens officially on Tuesday, January 21st at 8 a.m. And you can select the day in which you would like to play. And at that same time, you will select a team t-shirt color, which your team will wear throughout the remainder of the season. All of this must be completed by 11:59 p.m. on Wednesday, January 22nd, in order for your indoor soccer registration to be complete and for you to have a spot in one of our leagues. If this isn't done by the deadline, you will not be able to participate in our league, as we need to adhere to that deadline and get schedules published. If you have any questions about anything in this video, you may contact the Intramural Sports staff at 319-335-9292 or email us at intramural-sports@uiowa.edu. Thank you for your attention during this video, and good luck in your indoor soccer season.